And it was the last minute thing sent to me, that there is an ordinance in play that is being approved in, I believe, the village of South Bloomfield, to put a moratorium on them there. So it's just going to take all of us to look at it and get up to speed on a very complex piece of technology and how it can affect us, how we can ease the worries of the community. So
I did talk to them a little bit today. Their power plant that they have there currently can generate 77 megawatts of power. The data center they're proposing could use up to 75. So they would be self-sufficient in that, but at this time.
and where are you getting this information about the size of? Pardon?
From Mr. Tucker.
Okay. Well, it would be nice that if he would meet with us as a committee and talk to us about it, because there are a list of questions here, and I think that it should be done with more than one person to, because we are going to have to make decisions on this. And these three council persons live in an area that could be very much, and I do believe that your parents live on Caldwell Street, which is would be a major, they're very close to that, and some of our finest homes are there. Some of our poorest people live in that area who are on fixed incomes. A lot of elderly people live there that have lived there all their lives. And we need to do what we can to find out, exactly what they are going to do, and perhaps talk with them about what we can do to mitigate any problems that might happen because of we can't be anti-economic development and so on. It will not produce any real jobs for us once it's completed. Probably that's what they're telling you, but from the ones in the 2 counties in Ohio already that they have them, they don't have over 10 employees, and they are people that have been brought in from other areas. They are not people that were even employed from there. So maybe that would be a pretty sizable operation and much more large than you're describing that they told you about. But we just need to learn more, and we need to get input from people who do know more than any of us. I've had to do a fast track on it. I still have a lot to learn, still a lot I don't know, but that's why I need your help from the committee. And we'll just pull it all together and see what we can come up with that's reasonable for a new company coming in and what's reasonable for our community, and decide whether or not we want to go ahead and move forward with legislation so that we don't have any more surprises that we didn't know about happening. But
thank you. It's 7 o'clock, and I'm going to call our meeting to order. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, council members, city officials. Welcome to the July 27, 2026 regular city council meeting. We're meeting at 26 South Paint Street, Chiillicothe, Ohio, and I would ask the clerk to call the roll.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Bennett.
Present.
Payne.
here,
McCourt.
Here.
Barnes.
Here.
McKeever.
Here.
Dement.
Here.
Preston.
Here.
Dunn.
here.
Creed.
Here.
Would Ms. Dunn lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our clerk was not here at the last meeting. She was at a conference, and we had someone substituting, and I'm not sure if there were any minutes that you had. They are not quite ready yet, so we will not be looking at the minutes from the last meeting. That will be at the next meeting that we have. And so now we'll move to the reports of committees, starting with Development Committee, Mr. Dement.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Development, we have nothing on tonight's agenda. No committee meetings, so nothing to report, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Engineering Committee, Ms. Dunn.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We just had a meeting, the engineering committee did, on the data center, and we have assignments, and we're going to do more research and try to get some answers for the citizens in our city and county. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance Technology Committee, Mr. Creed.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We had a Finance Committee meeting earlier today that was on assignment 26-054, and that was appropriation to cover increased insurance costs throughout the city. That's a total of $66,000 increased. Part of that is because we had an increase in our liability that we have to do as well this year. The committee did make a motion to move that forward, so we should see that on the next agenda. We have two items on the agenda tonight. First one is item number 1. It's a first reading ordinance appropriating $100,000 for income tax refund. We've already spent the funds that we have in there, so we need additional funds to be able to complete those tax refunds. At the appropriate time, I'll make a motion to waive the 3-read rule so the auditor's office can keep moving forward with that. And then we also have item number 3, which is a motion to place the 0.2% municipal income tax on the ballot this November. That has to be to the Board of Elections by early August, so at the appropriate time, I'll make a motion to waive the 3-read rule on that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Human Resources Committee, Ms. Payne.
Excuse me. Thank you, President Shoemaker. We do have one item on the agenda this evening. It's number 2, an ordinance authorizing the city auditor to create a fund to be known as the Payroll Clearing Fund for the city of Chiillicothe and declaring it an emergency. And this fund, just so people understand it, this fund will ensure proper reconciliation between payroll, registers, bank disbursements, and general ledger positions. We also had a committee meeting this evening, not Human Resources Committee meeting, but a special committee meeting, and that committee is Compensation Review Committee, and what we are looking at is part-time. Our mayor is considered a part-time position right now, and do we look at a full-time position, and is it really a full-time position right now, and the compensation being a part-time position? Anyway, we are looking at the mayor's position and other elected officials' position and their compensation packages. So we had one meeting this evening, and we'll probably have several meetings before we're finished with this. I would like to announce our next meeting at 6:30, right before our next council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Parks and Rec Committee, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We have nothing on the agenda for this evening, but I would like to say that the graffiti wall is done, and it's amazing. We had a big, kind of like a grand opening yesterday, so that was pretty awesome to see so many people down there tagging and doing all sorts of different art on the big 40 by 8 foot wall. So go down there and check it out if you can. That concludes my report. Thanks.
Mr. Barnes, let them know that I have a lot of paint in my garage if they'd like to have it. Thank you for the report. Safety Service Committee, Ms. Preston.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Safety Service has no items on the agenda this evening. However, we did have 3 items in a committee meeting this evening. The first one was 26-059, appropriation for purchase of new outbuilding at Fire Station number 2. This is to replace an over 20-year building that was dilapidated and falling apart, so that one was approved. The next item was 26-058. It was to appropriate funds for control panel at Fire Station number 1. This was also approved. It's for their exhaust system. And then the third item was proposed amendments for speed limits on various streets, bike paths, and trails. The speed limit in the city park was decided will be 10 mile per hour on all streets and surrounding areas in the park. And Mr. Carmen did question some ordinance work on e-bikes and scooters, and we are going to be investigating that further. So this will push the speed limit through, but we're going to investigate the other further. And that's all that I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Utilities Committee, Mr. McKeever.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Utilities has nothing on the agenda for tonight. However, we did have a committee meeting on July 22nd for a request for appropriation of $12,240 for the Seney Road landfill replacement gas monitoring probe, EGMP. So that'll be moved forward to the law director for their review. Nothing further.
Thank you. City Services Committee, Mr. McQuirk.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We have nothing on the agenda tonight. I did have 2 committee meetings. First assignment was 26-057, authorization for the mayor to file application proposals with ODOT and execute agreements if approved. And the other one was 26-039, appropriation to purchase downtown solid waste containers, try to deal with the trash situation in the downtown area. Both was approved through committee, so we should see them on the next city council meeting. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Community Affairs Committee, Ms. Bennett.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We don't have anything on the agenda. We don't have anything to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to move to the reports of officials, and I know that Mayor Feeney is not available this evening, but he had some of the individuals from the administration here for the committee meetings earlier, but there's no report from the mayor, so we will move to the auditor.
My office has 2 things on the agenda tonight, and the first one is an ordinance appropriating additional funds to cover income tax refunds. So that is something that usually happens throughout the year. And then the next thing is an ordinance authorizing the creation of a payroll clearing fund. And I do want to ask that we waive the 3-read rule on that. I forgot to ask Kathy to do that. So I would like to do that. And then lastly, I want to call a budget review for August the 10th at 6:30. Okay, I will do mine at 5 o'clock. Or 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. No, 6 o'clock's fine. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to the law director.
Thank you. We've been pretty busy this week. As most of you know, one of the assistant law directors, Andy Anastasi, he lost his father. It was completely unexpected, and so we've been scrambling, trying to cover him, and he unfortunately was in a trial when he found out, so it's been really bad. So our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. Thank you.
Please relay our condolences also, if you would. Next, we'll move to audience participation. Any person wishing to address the council must first provide his or her name and address. Comments shall be limited to 5 minutes, and I'll give you a warning when there is 1 minute remaining. Please just press the button there on the mic till the green light comes on.
Okay. Thank you for your patience. My name is Matthew Owen. I live on 183 South Payne Street, Unit A. This is probably very old news. However, I just wanted to share my story. Anyhow, so I'm the guy, I don't know if anybody has seen me. I ride my bike to work, and I actually take my daughter to preschool in that bicycle. And it's like a little carriage in front. And I start from South Paint. I go up north, and then I turn left onto Water Street, and then I go on to Yoctangi to drop her off and then continue on to the VA. Back when there was construction on Yoctangi, it was a minor inconvenience, but it doesn't matter to me. But when they started painting the lines, imagine my dismay when I saw that there was this big, wide lane on the side of Yoctangi, and I thought to myself, oh no, they're putting in parking on that road. Imagine my pleasant surprise when it turned out to be a really nice, wide bike lane. I really appreciate that. It does work. It's not as great as a physical barrier like a tree lawn or something like that, but it does make me feel safer, especially with her and the bicycle. So I hope that there's more planned in the works, and I am curious to know if there are more planned in the works. And it doesn't have to necessarily be on the route I described, but still, thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi. My name is Leisha Malone. I'm the owner of Whole Life Counseling Services here in Ross County. I've been in practice for 8 years here. Before I begin, I'd like to ask everyone a simple question in this room. Please raise your hand if you have a child, grandchild, sibling, spouse, parent, or someone you deeply love. Now keep those people in mind as you listen, because human trafficking does not discriminate. It does not care about your profession, your neighborhood, your income, your education, your political affiliation, your title, and it can happen to your family. As I said, my name is Leisha Malone. I am the mother and legal guardian of my adult son, who is here with me today, and another human trafficking survivor here in this town, and I can assure you that there are countless others my son has experienced approximately 10 years of exploitation, and I can also assure you that he's never spent more than 2 days away from my home in his entire lifetime until the last year when the predators here lured him out of my home to live at my mother's, where they live on Jefferson Avenue. I'm a licensed behavioral health professional with years of experience serving this community in behavioral health, over 8,000 hours of treatment. I've also treated law enforcement, EMTs, attorneys, statewide, and served on boards. And I've worked with federal clients as well. I have also engaged in clinical supervision with Dr. Brian Bethel and Kenneth Larimore for the entirety of my career. I have served as the president of the Ross County Reentry Coalition, vice president of the Reentry Coalition, sat on multiple boards here, including the Child Protection Center board with Miss Julie Preston, and the Garden Advocacy Center, which I resigned as soon as I found out and freed my son from the ring after I paid for his phone to get retrieved from the streets within 24 hours. These people had become so comfortable with trafficking my son that they busted themselves out. Despite that experience that I've shared with you that I have, despite the years of documentation, despite understanding how systems work, despite professional relationships throughout this community, and despite refusing to stop advocating for my son, our family has encountered significant barriers while seeking protection, support, and accountability. That should concern every person that raised their hand in this room. Because if someone with my education and that experience is experiencing this, then my concern is, how is someone else who is less fortunate and does not have faith, does not have God to filter their emotions through, does not have that experience or advocacy, drive, or education to advocate the way I am, and has not been easy. To be clear, my son is slowly reclaiming his voice. I want to make this personal another way. One of our council members here, Miss Preston, I serve with her on the board. She also helped my oldest son, whenever he was in school, Chad, who experienced major civil rights violations in this community on 2 districts, which I have fought for 14 years for, and one of them is still in mediation currently, Union Scioto School. Thank you for helping my son. Another council member here, I attended church with her for years, and we did ministry with some of the children at Church of Deliverance. Thank you. Another council member, Mr. Creed, is a neighbor of mine, 2 doors down, who comes into my yard pretty much every day and pets my dog and feeds my dog snacks. And I want everyone to know here that these predators picked up my son and ordered him to move and walk away to the big tree or a street over to pick him up. It does not matter what neighborhood you are in. And this predator here is a previously court trial determined sexual predator from Vinton County who got off of 22 charges against minors and an 18-year sentence because the prosecution so sloppily handled the case. He appealed and they got zero justice. He came here and set up shop after he went to jail for lying on a judge for 17 months. He has been reported by me and others since November 2025. I share this not to criticize anyone, but to remind everyone that no neighborhood is immune, no family is automatically protected, and this affects ordinary streets, ordinary homes, and ordinary influential people and professionals. Tonight, these survivors have come here to break their silence with my support as their victim representative, which is a designated thing that victims are allowed to have. It is their right, especially when they both have disabilities, because they also prey on those individuals as well. As a community, we must continue supporting survivors while respecting the integrity of ongoing investigations in the legal process. Before I close, I want to address what I believe is the most urgent issue before this council, and that's community safety. Our family has repeatedly requested meaningful safety measures while criminal investigations have been pending since November. We have documented ongoing concerns, including 5 reported violation civil protection orders that both predators have against both myself and my son for 5 years effective until 2031 that have been provided with video evidence for each. And both supervisors of both departments have declined to violate these predators on these civil rights protection orders, civil protection orders. So let me be clear. That is a problem. Whenever all the victims that I've come in contact with, a total of 13 to date, naturally and organically, I ran into her at Burger King, and she walked up to my son and stated what had happened to her with the same predators, and then he told her what happened to him, correct? Neither one of them knew. I mean, this is happening every 2 weeks. I'm running into a new survivor. They've all said that this guy is system protected. Well, again, he did get off of 22 counts and an 18-year sentence as a court trial determined sexual predator in Benton County. I'm not asking this council to determine guilt or innocence. That is the role of our justice system. I am asking that the safety of this community be treated with the urgency it deserves, and the victims who report serious crimes receive timely protection, clear communication, and confidence that their reports are being fully investigated. When families repeatedly seek help and survivors come forward despite enormous fear of life, which they all have said, multiple of them have been in hiding for several years and will not speak to anyone locally. So that is also a major concern. Public confidence depends on knowing that an individual is above the law, that no individual is above the law, and that every person is entitled to due process and equal accountability. Now, I do believe that people are capable of change. This is something a lot of people don't like, but I've been a sexual assault survivor as well, and my dad went to prison by my mom's boyfriend in Kansas City. God helped me and healed me and delivered me of that. And I actually treated sex offender clinicians and was the mental health director at the Alvis House for sex offenders. For every offender that left every single prison in the state of Ohio, they had to go through my and Dr. Shively's program before they're released. That was my first job out of college. I took Pat Frail's job from that. And then I worked with sexual trauma survivors. So I've worked with both of them. And my faith is I pray for every victim, every family, every public servant, every investigator, every leader, every person who has caused harm. Prayer, however, does not negate accountability. Compassion does not eliminate our responsibility to protect the vulnerable. I do not believe in people that in the statement, let's hang the predators. You know, that's not going to solve the problem. Every single person in the Epstein file, every single corrupt official that's listed in our county that was alleged to, be in the files and make mistakes as well, I pray for them too. And the fact is that we can lock everybody up in the Epstein files, but they're still evil. This is a spiritual warfare. This is a spiritual, demonic, sexual lust perversion situation. And everyone has their own rights for their beliefs, but it is something that I pray for. Thank you, sir. Tonight, I respectfully ask this council stand with survivors, support victim-centered services, encourage transparency and collaboration among agencies, and ensure that the community safety remains a priority. Every victim deserves to be heard. Every resident deserves a community where exploitation is confronted rather than ignored. Over the course of the last 9 months, I've received the following warnings. Do not speak to the media or public, or this can ruin your credibility of the case and can harm the investigation. The media can really make a mess of things. I have been warned, do not say anything about law enforcement if it's not substantiated or proved, because this can also ruin your credibility of your case and harm the investigation. I have witnessed 3 advocates at 3 local entities be blocked to fulfill their advocacy duties that these entities receive direct funding for to protect these vulnerable victims of crime. This is all on audio recorded Google Teams meeting with witnesses. Silence allows fear to grow, and truth and accountability gives communities the opportunity to heal. My hope is simple. As I close, every opportunity for appropriate authority continues to pursue these matters thoroughly, independently, without fear or favor, and that no other family has to spend months of wondering whether their loved one will be protected while waiting for justice. As a behavioral health professional, I would not come before this community or council and ask for change without offering something tangible that may prevent another family from experiencing what our family has endured. So I basically created a 30-page guide that's free for anybody. I created it in November when my son first got out. Anybody can have it. This is a community leader warning that I provided the local corrections planning board that I went to last week. That was my first board. And then this right here is just like a picture of it. It's 30 pages. It's for free. It's for professionals, parents, and community members. And it shows the signs that I saw, that I documented, and some of the signs that I did not see that I want people to be aware of, because I have been involved in human trafficking coalition meetings. I've housed them at my business, and I was trained on some things, but not on everything. And I think that people need to know these things because they're very, very serious. And a lot of times people will blame the victims. And if you read this, I think it will help people.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for coming too. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Sure.
We'll have copies made after the meeting for everyone so that everyone gets a copy. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Is there anyone else who wishing to speak?
Hello, my name's Kyle. I live at 267 West 5th Street. I work for LexisNexis. I'm a big fan of AI. I use AI all the time. Studied up a lot on, the systems, and I am a little bit concerned about this project. Am I allowed to ask questions while I'm speaking? Is that permitted?
You can certainly ask questions. We try not to get into a debate because then it goes on and on. So,
No.
but if you want to ask questions that these folks will take a look at some point and get back with you, that'll be fine.
Okay. It seemed like a lot of you guys were kind of blindsided by the data center in the first place. Did I sort of get that right? When they're claiming power consumption and power draw and stuff like that, if they push this part of the project through without telling you and without notifying anybody or public comment, how can you trust that? Aligned does one thing. They build data centers and they build them quickly. And Aligned was just purchased by a consortium of BlackRock and MGX Capital, and they are designed to build hyperscale data centers as fast as possible. They're designed to railroad through the legal system and use an endless pool of capital to do whatever they have to get them put there. I'm really more concerned about what they're not saying. We've seen a lot of marketing about this data center and a lot of things that they're pitching, potential jobs a decade away. But what's the real benefit for the people of Chiillicothe right now? Because we're the ones that are going to pay the cost immediately. That power draw, the mill was set up for up to 70 watts of power consumption, but a hyperscale data center, a 4-tiered project like that, can consume in the hundreds of megawatts of power. The issue is not in the power consumption, it's in the infrastructure upgrades that are necessary. They won't cover that cost. It'll be the residents of Chiillicothe that have to cover the cost of those infrastructure upgrades to sustain that increased power draw. So it's definitely something that should concern everyone. And whether the number's smaller or larger than what they've told us, those projects always grow. They always expand. They always require more data than they initially say. I think that it's really, really important. We've been thrust into this fight with some of the deepest pockets that exist. And it's really important that we have protections on paper, legal protections, and I think a lot of that is going to rest on you guys aggressively pursuing other jurisdictions that have successfully fought data centers, and seeing what the actual impact on the citizens has been, because you've been thrown in the ring with Tyson in his prime. This is a massive legal battle, and I think that they will do everything that they want to do, regardless what happens to the people of Chiillicothe, if you're not prepared and you haven't legislated those kind of protections, like initially, like right now, I provided that motion or that moratorium. It's just a template from the company because like we have to get that stuff enacted quickly. They were able to push through an entire data center without ever notifying you guys, without ever talking to anybody, without any public comments. That should alarm everyone in this room. That's the kind of power that you're dealing with. U.S. Paper Mill is owned by a former U.S. ambassador. It exists to fulfill 2 federal contracts. They are deeply tied in with the federal government. They will railroad small communities. It's a big deal. And I definitely encourage all of you guys to read up on Aligned, read up on MGX Capital, particularly, and BlackRock's AI arm. They will do whatever they want with this community. And no matter what kind of power draw they tell us they're going to take what they want. The water, same story. You know, our infrastructure is old. It is very old. I don't think that they're prepared for the costs of upgrading everything to bring it to industrial capability, especially at that scale. And they're not going to subsidize it. They're not going to pay it. It's going to be us. We're going to have to foot the bill. So I just am really concerned for the long-term vision and would like to see a lot more figures, a lot more like real data points, real conversations happening instead of just somebody telling somebody else this or that. We need some stuff on paper. We need to start making demands like now. Sorry. Thank you.
Could you give me your last name for the record, please?
Skaggs, S-K-A-G-G-S.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other audience participation, we'll now.
As victim representative, I've been given permission to speak on their behalf because of the anxiety and the trauma. You still want me to speak on your behalf? Okay. 10 years of extensive trauma, you got to be able to give them their rights as a victim. And this will take a lot less time, by the way. He just had a few statements that he wanted to hear, to voice. And actually, my son has actually wanted to go public since December. And I'm like, wait, I'm your guardian. Like, I'm concerned it'll be used against you, like, or against me. Like, we have to be very careful, right? But he's wanted to go public since December. And now he's wanting me to speak again. Do you realize the risk that can impose on you? Or do you realize the risk to have me speak about this stuff? What risks do you think that there are that you understand? Anything that you feel comfortable saying about the risks? Make a lot of people mad? Okay. Are you okay with that? Why is that? Okay. You want me to go ahead and say what you told me earlier? Okay. So to be clear, my son does have a severe intellectual disability, and both him and Megan have given me permission to share that, right? I've worked extensively with them. My son, I've always known that there was something wrong anyway. I've documented it with from the time he was 14 to 15 at school with atypical behaviors all the way to the board of DD. I've documented this with providers, major permanent damage that has been caused and mental health symptoms that are extensively documented since he was about 15 years old. We just didn't have any proof till I paid to get the phone off the streets. Again, my name is Leisha Malone, and I'm here as the designated victim representative for a survivor who has authorized me to speak on his behalf because of the trauma that he continues to experience and makes it difficult to speak publicly. The survivor has asked me to share the following. Quote, I have lived in fear for many years. As a teenager, I was followed in TJ Maxx, Rue 21, Chipotle, and Snapchat. This can happen to anyone inside your home or outside. This eventually became years of abuse, trauma, abuse, pain, threats, and forcing me against my will, and videos were taken and used against me, and I was laughed at to make me comply. You want me to go on? I was too afraid to tell my own family and my mother because I believed my life was in danger. I lived in silence for years out of fear. Today I'm asking for your help. I am tired of suffering. I want my voice to be heard. I also want other survivors to know that they are not alone. I want parents to know and to understand that training in your mind can begin everyday places and through social media. It can happen to anyone. Please pay attention to the signs, listen to the victims, and take what we say seriously. My hope is that by sharing my story, another child or teenager or person will be safe before they experience what they did to me for years. This survivor is exercising their right to be heard and is asking our community council to continue supporting survivors, promoting public safety, and ensuring that victims are treated with dignity, compassion, and respect. And I will also end with one more statement, if I may. It won't take that long. This has already been on document. Otherwise, I'd be more careful saying it. It's already been on document. It's been reported by 3 different survivors on 3 different occasions, 2 of which I heard myself personally. The other one was told to me by a medical personnel at Adina, that there were bodies buried underneath a trailer. I do have 2 addresses. One of them I've given over. The other one will be given very soon, within the next 24 hours, that I just received yesterday. Bodies buried underneath a trailer. There are missing women here. There are missing people here, and there are boys. This hub has boys that they blindfolded in lines. 4 men are coming through. This is what you're going to do. And I do not care to say it because it is a fact, and these guys have been loose since I've reported it. It has made it to prosecution, praise God, and God is going to take care of it. So I have to be careful, but these things are just known. I mean, there's no reason why I can't say it because it's a community safety warning. And everyone here would want you would want to know. They were just in Bureau Heights yesterday. They're stalking, intimidating. It's very, very serious. When you have children blindfolded, like you're seeing on TV, it's actually real. This is a situation. It's organized crime against humanity. And we're in Ohio. We're right here. There's tunnels that they've been taken to and gang raped. That's why they could not talk. And he will tell you to your face today. What have you ever told me? And you know what I did? I took him straight to Chiillicothe Police Department. I said, I found your phone. We got bigger fish to fry. You're coming with me. He's curled up in a ball like himself, like he was. I hadn't seen him for 10 years. Like his personality came back and he said, you're right, Mom. And he balled up in a ball. And he's been coming back ever since. He can smile now. He can open up his hand. He can go to a room with the door open. It's extensive, the defragmentation I have watched. I have had to leave my practice and still run it with other professionals, but I've had to cut my income down to half to be able to caregive and advocate for my son. It's been extensive. Many nights I've stayed up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning doing paperwork. Please pray for us. Please take them seriously. And please help us in staying together with survivors. I appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Thank you for your statements.
Yes, sir.
If there is no further audience participation, then we're going to move to old business. Is there any old business to come before the council? Hearing none, we'll move to petitions and correspondence.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. I've not received anything.
Next, we'll move to new business. Is there any new business to come before council? Hearing none, we'll now move.
I would like to make a statement for it really quickly.
I'm sorry, you even asked me about that and I forgot. I apologize.
That's okay. I'm going to take just a couple minutes of your time. First, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your confidence and support of me as your clerk for City Council. I'd like to read you the mission statement from the Ohio Municipal Clerks Association. The Ohio Municipal Clerks Association advances the municipal clerk profession through education, networking, and mentoring, which establish clerks as experts in their field and leaders in the communities they serve. week before last, I got to go to the Ohio Municipal Clerks Institute in Columbus, and I had 4 days of extensive training. I learned that many municipalities do not support their clerks. And I saw it with my own eyes and talked to a lot of people who aren't supported. So again, I thank you for supporting me, for listening, for helping me to do my job. I just wanted to give you a little overview. I got to sit in on classes for problematic smartphone use, media psychology, cybersecurity, nonpartisan voter education by the League of Women Voters. I got to sit on a planning and zoning course, a positive mindset course, a chat GPT overview, and First Amendment auditors. These things are things that I never would have had the opportunity to hear about before, and it was so interesting, and it's really honestly kind of life-changing because, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And then when you do know it, it makes for a different path. And so I'm really excited. I'm excited for this conference. I'm excited to serve you. And I also have been asked by the Ohio Municipal Clerks Association to step into a region director position. That would be the lower 8 counties. And I would have to do a newsletter every quarter and have 1 meeting per year. I do have to have permission from my municipality, so I will submit everything accordingly. But I did want to let you know I would like to step into this role as your clerk, and then as a clerk in this group to help grow these communities and maybe teach others in this area, because there aren't very many in our area. There aren't very many clerks who participate. And so I would really like to do more reaching out to them and try to get them involved as well. So again, I thank you, and thanks for the time to update everybody.
Thank you for the report. We appreciate it. Now it's time to move to the ordinances and resolutions. And so I will ask the clerk to read the first ordinance.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We have 3 items on our agenda this evening. Item number 1 is the first reading of an ordinance to appropriate $100,000 to the income tax refund line and authorize the transfer of $25,000 back to the general fund to reimburse the proportionate share of income tax refunds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Creed.
President Shoemaker, I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule, please.
Second by Ms. Preston. And the clerk will call the roll relative to the waiver of the 3-read rule.
Bennett.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
McCourt.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Dement.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The 3-read rule is waived, and the clerk will now call the roll relative to the ordinance.
Bennett.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
McCourt.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Dement.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. The next ordinance.
Item number 2 is the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the city auditor to create fund number 999 to be known as the payroll clearing fund for the city of Chiillicothe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
President Shoemaker,
Ms. Payne.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule on this.
Second by Ms. Bennett. And the clerk will call the roll relative to the waiver of the 3-read rule.
Bennett.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
McCourt.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Dement.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The 3-read rule is waived, and the clerk will now call the roll relative to the ordinance.
Bennett.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
McCourt.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Dement.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. Next resolution.
Item number 3 is the first reading of a resolution declaring the necessity of submitting to the electors of the city of Chiillicothe the question of imposing an additional 0.2% municipal income tax for the exclusive purpose of street paving, repairs, and improvements, directing that the question be placed on the ballot at the general election to be held November 3rd, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Creed.
President Shoemaker, I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule, please.
Second by Ms. Dunn. The clerk will call the roll relative to the waiver of the 3-read rule.
Bennett.
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
McCourt,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The three-read rule is waived. The clerk will now call the roll relative to the resolution.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
McCourt,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. If there's no other business to come before council, I would entertain a motion to adjourn by Ms. Bennett, second by Mr. McQuirt, and the clerk will call the roll.
Bennett, Payne,
Yes.
McCourt,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.